welcome, gals, welcome to the show where you ask car detailing, car questions, various things of that nature, and we try to answer them.
It's what we do.
So,
it's what
we
Friday
do.
Eve is all about.
Really is.
Yep.
2 hours every single week that we can.
Yep.
Some of us make it, some of us don't. But then again, he's here in spirit. So
okay,
that's what
well,
matters.
not really. You were here in spirit when you were.
That's
in the
true. I was
crystal ball.
literally a spirit
This
trapped
is
in
more
a
of just
crystal ball.
a facsimile of Anthony. Some would say.
I mean, it was either this or a mannequin. I prefer this, actually.
Yeah, the mannequin would have just been kind of creepy. The wax mannequin that we made of Anthony.
Yeah.
So sometimes I see it at his desk. Sometimes I think it's him working.
Well, when it's a skeleton, you don't notice the lack of clothes quite
True.
as much.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys.
We probably should get his mannequin dressed. But
housekeeping. What do we have to touch on today?
Not a whole lot, Dane.
Okay.
We are going to be getting ready to launch a Halloween sale coming up in the next week.
Oh, okay.
Not this week, not today.
Oh,
but coming
today.
up, we got a little break, a little taste for this weekend. But the best way to find out is to make sure that you guys are signed up for the newsletter. Go to theragcompany.com. If you've never been to our website before, it auto-populates right there and tells you sign up for the details. You get a 15% off coupon, all that good stuff. But you can scroll right down to the bottom, just like you said. Put in your email address. We don't spam you.
No.
We only tell you when we got sales that are going to save you money and
if we
make
email
you,
it's because it's actually worth your while.
Yeah, it's good information. You should read it and enjoy it. But yeah, so that's really the only thing we've got going on other than the fact that Anthony Fisher is not with us today because for those of you guys wondering,
a little busy.
He's busy today, bringing in his progeny into the world.
Could be his prodigy.
We are still waiting with bated breath.
Oh, man.
Trying to figure out what it is, what he's having, if it's a boy, if it's a girl.
There was a running
bet
as to how much it would weigh.
If it's 10 pounds, if it's 57 inches long. I mean, that's way too long of a baby. That's like an adult male.
Yikes.
If it's like 20 inches, we're just we've been waiting. All of us. Yep. All he sent us was a text, was him at a hospital going, not coming in today.
Just cryptic
and that
every
was it.
time.
And then hasn't sent us anything, sent us a thing saying, doing great, everybody's good, we're all happy.
And he knows exactly what he's doing.
Oh, he knows
deliberately
exactly.
just beating around the bush, tiptoeing like, nah,
I said, how's everything going?
Yeah.
And he goes, great. And
that's all the information
we're going to be here for a few days.
Then again, we're probably just being nosy, and that's his business.
Well,
and
that's
he's
what
allowed to have
we've
that,
done really
so,
good. We've when he wrote, we all blew him up. Said, "Oh my gosh!" And then he sent a little thing saying, "We're all good." I was the most stressed I've ever been, and we're like, "What was it? What happened?" And then he just went silent again.
Fell off the face
for another couple hours.
Responses.
So then, right beforehand, I reached out and said, "How's everybody doing? How's things going?" And he's like, "Great. We're having a good time. Just ordered some room service. Just waiting for have a little lunch." And that's all.
That's all you get.
I said, "How's everyone?" He's like, "We're good. That's it." So
zero.
Yeah. So you guys know as much as
kind.
We know.
Other than the fact that they're alive, that's what we've established.
Everybody's alive. Thank goodness.
so good.
But so Anthony may or may not hop into the comments, but he's busy right now, right? So he might have some stuff that he's doing. So we'll see. But anyway, today is Thursday. It's Q&A time. It's time to get this party started, Dane.
You know what? One more thing related to the baby. For that baby in the future, watching this episode, knowing the day they were born, many, many years in the future, happy birthday, Buddo.
Oh,
I don't know if you're a guy, gal, whatever,
boy or girl.
But happy birthday. So there you go.
Future child.
Future child. All right.
So, anyway. Very simple, easy. Just going to be me and Dane. We're going to be splitting it back and forth. So enjoy it. Have fun. Rag Company kicking it off saying, "I love how we have more downvotes than upvotes and the show hasn't even started yet."
That was me commenting when I saw 2-1 and I was like, what's this?
Yeah.
Nothing's even happened.
So I've noticed we've gotten a lot of downvotes on some videos recently.
I think there's just some salty people floating around.
A lot of salty people. My current video where me and Juan are doing that, I got like 21 downvotes or something like that. Jeez. And I'm like, I've never seen that many. That's probably 10. I'm probably making that number
there's some hate flowing around out there. I don't know if I care for that.
The good news is those downvotes don't actually count for anything.
It's true. They're actually engagement, guys. Sorry.
So, joke's on you guys. Dan Pfeiffer saying, "Good afternoon. Happy Friday Eve. Word up from Cloudy, Minnesota. I got my TRC order in last week and did my fall coating maintenance, decon wash, full detail clean, and CTV3. I am dialed in. Anthony, the Breakbuster 1-to-1 Club is meeting next month and would like you to be the Grand Marshal in the parade. Please say yes. Oh, Anthony does not like that. He's a big fan.
Look how much you stressed him out.
Of 10-to-1. 10-to-1, Dan. Dewar says, Anthony, having a baby? Well, maybe his wife is. Either way, woohoo. Middle name will probably be VTEC, possibly, or Honda.
True, minus the H, because Honda don't do that. Adam.
Happy Friday Eve, TRC. Best part of the work week. Thank you, man. Right. And then Israel Diaz sent us a bunch of emojis with sun, peace, and thumbs up.
Hello.
Darren Lee says, I got my color lock kit in and cleaned and coated the leather. It looks amazing. Then he repeats himself again and says, got my color kit in last week. Cleaned and sealed, looks amazing. And then...
you know why he said that? Because I played a trailer of our color lock event before the show. So he's just relating to that.
Dead Pedal, Andrew saying, how would you go about cleaning the stitching and embroidered logos on my leather? My ST has white stitching and embroidered Recaro and ST logos on black leather, and it looks so dingy. So, Andrew, grab either grab the Alcantara kit from the color lock pile.
That would do it.
And one of the clean kits, or you could just use the normal vinyl leather cleaning kit and use the mild cleaner and a brush and scrub.
You don't need the strong one.
You could use the mild cleaner and a brush and scrub that the logo, and then grab a towel and dry it off. That's all you really got to do. The other thing you could do is, like I said, you could do the Alcantara kit, which has the Alcantara cleaner, which is a little less colorful. It's a little more clear than yellow. But it cleans up really well. And then, and you could do that on the stitching. Heck, you could even go with Express on that. Wouldn't be too bad. So, and then he says, also, today's drink is bead maker mixed with coconut rum. Not sure what to make of it. What? Some good
not sure what to name
stuff.
It. Well,
not to name it.
Yeah. If he was going to say not sure what to call it, I'd say call it Doctor. But
coconut mango. It's basically what you're drinking there. So coconut rum with a mango.
We could just call that just mango rum punch. I mean,
mango really rum punch, huh?
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Let's call it beadmaker punch. Jonathan Rosa says, I freaking love TRC products.
Product yeller in the house. Way to go, Jonathan. That's
I like that it was
spirit.
A full sentence that I got to yell. So Han saying, hey, happy belated Wednesday. Thank you, Han.
That also works.
Appreciate that. That's very, very thoughtful of you. And then Cherry Schwartz, can I use one L1 leather guard on unsealed Napa leather? So here's the deal. I don't recommend sealing unsealed leather.
Yeah.
When you've got Napa leather.
Sometimes you want to let it breathe.
You've got Nubuck leather, and you've got Napa and Nubuck are.
Aren't there a few other kinds?
Aniline.
I don't recall what
there's aniline.
Well, aniline, semi-aniline, all that business.
I would honestly, Terry, I wouldn't touch that on there because of the fact that there's a chance to damage and stain that leather because it's unsealed. So I would reach out to ColorLock, reach out to Ram at colorlock.com. You can send an info question there, and they'll be able to at least give you an answer. Now, L1 is a G-Technic product, but Ram knows his way around the G-Technic products. Remember, they're both in the UK. He knows Rob very well, the owner of G-Technic. So I would reach out and talk to them about it and find out exactly what you could and couldn't use. I'm not up on enough of that to do that, give you that proper answer. So
all I know is I've seen what a King Ranch looks like when someone doesn't take care of it.
Yeah. So I'd set it to, I'd see what, because sometimes he would say like, yeah, you could use this product, or I'd recommend this type of product, and he'll tell you what'll work the best.
Okay. Optical Clarity Detailing. What's up, Rag Company crew? Can't wait to see what's in store for 2022 and SEMA. Keep up the great content.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. So
we're looking forward to that
we are going to be at SEMA, me and Dane. Yeah. We're bringing Juan with us, and then of course your dad, John, and Josh. So 6 of us are going to be at SEMA this year. We are going to be in the West Hall, booth number 54, 109.
And we will have a car with us.
We will have a car, and we will be right next to the Avery Dennison booth. So really exciting. We've got Avery Dennison training this coming week. Next week here
Justin
in the studio.
Justin will be in that booth too, will he?
Justin will be at that booth. We have Danny Trujillo teaching the class this week.
Cool.
And he'll be at SEMA as well, along with Chad Parrish and some of the other Avery Dennison trainers. So super cool. So we're going to, but we'll be there. As to new products, we won't have any new products available. We do have a few products in the new product showcase that we'll have, but we don't have anything. We may or may not have one of the new prototype towels in the booth. We don't know yet, but it'd be cool to see. So just stay tuned. Follow me and Dane and keep up on what we're doing, and Juan and all that while we're at SEMA, and you guys can see it.
Yeah.
So, Tony Broden, Sweden in the house. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for watching. Danny, Israel, Anthony, congrats. So happy for you. Uncle Dane, congrats on the sweet new family van. He bought it just for that reason, because he knows that him and Anthony may be having to take some late night drives.
True.
That's what's going to happen. I had to do that with my minivan.
Yeah.
But I live clear on the other side of town.
Yeah.
So I also had my children before we actually worked together.
Right.
So I would go for these long drives.
Yeah.
Right. And I would be gone for
drift off.
Hours.
Yeah.
Hours. It was like, I'm going to drive to Idaho City tonight and drive home. Maybe I'll go out to Mountain Home.
Yeah.
Because this kid had to sleep. So I just drive. That's what's going to happen.
Anthony
crib. Decided that Dane's van would be perfect for this. So what'll happen is Anthony will be like, Dane, need you to come over. Got to get us out of the house. And then next thing you know, it's a homeboys road trip. 2 of you driving around in the middle of the night. You're up anyway.
He's so in love with my van. I feel like he wouldn't take much to put him over the edge for him to get one for himself.
Oh yeah,
I feel like he's right there.
Oh, I think so.
Right there.
I think he'd do well with an Odyssey.
I mean, it's not a Civic, but at the same time, come on, man.
I think he
expand your horizons a little bit.
A real nice Odyssey that he would be like, dude, this thing's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And he would set it up. He'd get it with the two with captain's chairs, fold the third row down. So he keeps it flat for the storage, but he's got the 4 captain's chairs. He'd go with a black leather interior, maybe a red or a blue on the outside.
Yep.
Kind of keep it fresh. Tint the windows, throw some Koenigs on there. And
then drop it off at Bisimoto's shop and wait for the result.
DC Sports exhaust or something on it. And maybe contact his friends at Corbeau. Get 4 captain's chairs put in.
I wonder if they make buckets. Baby seats.
They don't, but Recaro does.
Recaro does.
So, point is, though, he just swap out some seats. He's got his own wicked van that he could have some fun with.
A wicked whip?
Yeah.
All right.
Poets Flamel saying, happy Friday Eve, guys. Thanks, man. Matt, looking to pick up a roof box.
Ooh.
And I want to know what you recommend to protect it. Summer gloss, summer matte with a golf ball like texture. Not sure how that would work with a ceramic coating. It works just fine. Just coat it like normal and keep it protected. The biggest damager of those rocket boxes and top boxes is the UV. So coat them. Ivan, you guys should have a mystery box again. Never say never. Make sure, Ivan, if you haven't, go sign up for the newsletter so that you know when this new mystery sale drops. You'll be first in line.
They tend to be limited quantities, so when they get announced, if you're in the know and you actually get the email, you're going to find out before a lot of other people do.
I'll just say this. I'm not going to release a lot about because I want to do it next week when we get ready to launch the sale. We're going to talk about it more on the podcast next week, but I will say this is going to be a fun sale. We kind of tried to combine some fun elements into it.
Yeah.
We've got a couple other things we're going to be putting in. We've got, it's it's going to be fun.
It's unique compared to stuff we've done before.
Yeah. So stay tuned and never say never. So, Ken Jeeper, did anyone see that video where the YouTuber used a gloss meter after Dreammaker application? Oddly, the number went down even though the paint looked glossier. Yeah. So
seems to say something about the device.
Here's the deal. A gloss meter is a very odd tool.
It gets used using people's assumption of how one would operate.
Right.
And
actually,
so people just extrapolate.
Gloss meters actually test the reflection and the clarity of a reflection. So I can take a panel and I can slather it in a glaze-like product that hides everything, full of fillers.
Sure.
And I could also wet sand, compound, and polish and make that surface so perfectly clear.
Just totally level, flat as could be.
And shiny and so glossy.
It's a mirror.
And a gloss meter will say that the glaze heavy filler one is higher than the actual perfected paint.
Now, why would it do
Ken,
that?
you would also see that perfected paint would appear glossier. And the reason for it is the way the light reflects back and the way that the whatever those are, ions and the infrared, the photons, whatever that is, the things in this in
the sciencey element,
the sciencey stuff that you're seeing, it hits those ridges.
Sure.
What we've done is we've just slathered some concrete over the edge of it.
We slapped some Bondo of a sort into this, body indent.
Right.
And,
where the other one we flattened perfectly and machined to a perfection. Now,
but to the gloss meter, it reads.
Right. And an old school way to make a gloss meter prior to all the electronic stuff was to just take a yardstick and make notches on it.
Oh,
and put numbers on it and set it on a panel and see how many numbers you could read.
Yeah, because that's your clarity.
That's it. And it was how clear the paint was. That's a gloss meter. So I don't hold a lot of sway with it because I am like you. I think the paint looks glossier, and I use the way my eyes are. Plus, you've got to remember, it's different light sources.
You
can have outside on a cloudy day. Whew, man.
I think there's
a little bit of cloud cover, a little bit of sunlight. Sure. Holy cow, you can make a car disappear.
Yeah.
It becomes a mirror.
People used to love doing that on Facebook, posting a picture of like what's real and what's the reflection, that kind of stuff. But I mean, when it comes to this obsession I see with gloss meters and stuff that appear, every single comment section, somebody throws that out there, and they're just like, well, it's tangible, it's something you can measure, therefore this is the truth, this is the way, this is fact, and then anything else is just people talking or marketing at you, whatever.
Agreed.
It's like, your eyes may very well tell a different story than what the gloss meter is doing, but, somebody will say, oh, you're lying eyes, whatever it is. It's like, but at the same time, if you're making a car cleaner and you're making a car shinier, is that not ultimately the point?
Well, and I look at it also.
Because it's like for customers, whether they know it's perfectly smooth or not, if it appears that way and that's the result you're selling to someone, have you not done your job?
Well, and it goes back to, I used to trick my customers.
Oh, my gosh. Oh.
By
scammer
parking their cars in a spot in my parking lot where the light would hit the cars just right. Mm-hmm. So if all they came to me was for a basic wash and an interior detail, I didn't do anything to the outside but wash it. Same thing they did in their driveway.
Sure.
And they'd pull up and they'd be like, wow, why is my car, did you polish that thing?
I mean, you might wash it a little better that they wash it, but that doesn't change it that much.
I just washed it. But they would see it and their car would look so good just because the way the light hit at that angle in that spot in my parking lot. And that was how it would work. But I would do that because that was the first thing. When they'd pull up, they'd see it and they go, whoa, look how cool my car looks. Look how nice it looks. Well, that was the goal. I needed it to be that way.
Based on my experience, having come from like film school where we used a lot of light meters and things like that, I know just because you have a tool and just because it provides a measurement, it is not the end-all be-all.
Right.
It's far from it. It gives you a good idea, and if you have the know-how, the technical understanding of why you're getting the reading you're getting, you can then extrapolate a lot of information from that and arrive at like, okay, I need these lights here, do all that stuff. But it's probably a similar way with the gloss meter where like, okay, the environmental conditions can really affect the outcome too, if that's how it's doing its measurements and stuff. I mean, the lighting you're being provided, whether you're outdoors, indoors, something like that, people might think, oh, it's just fact. It's just the way it is. Point blank. Like, it's a number. I can measure that. It's not always the whole story.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that is just when people see it, finally, oh, somebody's actually putting some kind of like concrete number. It's no longer subjective, it's objective. And I can look at it this way. People feel like everybody else is now just a bunch of liars. But that's the hard part is when people come in and they try and make it like I am the truth seeker, the truth teller, and this is everything. People then go and see everybody else who are like, oh, no, this actually looks really good. And they're like, yeah, but you didn't measure it, so you're a crackpot.
Right. Well, and it's the fact that like
it's such a losing battle. And if you complain about it, then you're somehow,
well, it's so hard for us with our cameras, and we've got nice cameras.
Yeah.
To get a perfect shot of a scratch or a scuff or a defect or a water spot, or you guys, that's why we had to build the white room, because we needed a space that we could actually catch that, because in other spots we didn't have it. We can't go out in the parking lot and try and get a shot of this scratch. Like, if we can't see it on the car, the camera definitely isn't going to see it.
Well, how many times have we shot a video where we go to wash a car and the commenter's first comment, somebody just rolling their eyes, is like, try washing a dirty car.
Right, and the car is dirty.
It's like, it is dirty. You just can't see it. I'm trying, man.
Yeah, and that's the key. So a gloss meter via camera.
It's not to say it's wrong. No,
it's not wrong.
Will tell you something.
I never trusted it.
But it's only going to tell you in that exact moment, in that exact position, what it's going to be able to read. Yeah. Anything else, you could get a very different number. Oh, yeah. And even then, when you're comparing it to a result you got from last time and you didn't measure in the exact same place with the exact same lighting and all that stuff, it's not an apples to apples comparison.
With Ken. I think the paint looked glossier. Darren Lee, what would you all recommend for polishing the plastic like chrome? Nothing too aggressive needed. Clarity Cream. PNS Clarity Cream works great for that stuff. And then everybody says our audio cut out for a while. Uh-oh. Dan says, I think mentioning a gloss meter is the new foaming with ONR. Yes, I agree, Dan. Then all of a sudden, Carl says, aha! And Scott says, all good now. And then the occasional gentleman said, there it is, dude. And then Neil White says, hey, TRC, hope you're all doing well. Love the decor. Fall is here. I know, man. We are very excited for it.
We're on to page 2.
So, Bearded Hunter saying, what's up, guys? Happy Thursday. What's your favorite soap to run in a foam cannon? GSF?
That's up there.
We
also have some things we're testing that we like.
Yeah, so I'll say this, that I don't mind I don't mind GSF. I like GSF.
I like Pearl for its slickness.
Anthony loves GSF. I like Pearl a lot for its cost, because I'm still technically using it to run a little detail shop out of my garage. And I actually, when I put Pearl in, I put a lot of all-purpose cleaner in with it, because I mostly foaming APC on my cars.
So you're trying to make it more of a snow.
I want to strip it. It's a decontamination style.
Decon wash.
But that's what I use. So, but I know GSF smells amazing when it comes out of a foam cannon.
Yes, it does.
But yeah. Rob saying congrats.
Chris
Driggett, rinseless washing. Sponge is not good enough. I need to wipe with a microfiber towel afterward. I don't know what you mean by that, Chris. So, rinseless washing. The sponge is not good enough. I need to wipe with a microfiber towel afterwards.
I think he's asking. I don't know if he's necessarily tried it. He's just trying to see if a sponge is okay. Certain sponge.
So is okay. So the black,
the ultra black sponge.
The ultra black sponge, awesome. The big red sponge is great. The gold sponge, great. All those sponges are designed to work with rinseless. I actually like them better than a towel. But I usually, when I wash, I have a sponge and a towel in my bucket, so I can use the towel to get into the cracks and crevices and the things that I can't really get my sponge into, like door handle cups and things like that. But then we use a towel to dry the car afterwards.
The sponge, the appeal of the sponge is it releases what it picks up more easily.
That's the biggest reason.
That's the reason you want to use a sponge, which I understand. There's a lot of, people just say, oh, sponge, and what they really mean is like a grout sponge or something somebody uses. They're like, don't use that. When they say, don't use sponges, that's usually what they're thinking of. But these sponges we're talking about are actually okay.
They're not a coral sponge or anything like that. They're actual foam that is designed for polishing. They're polishing foams. Yeah. So the red, the gold, and the black are 3 of the softest polishing foams by Lake Country, who makes buffing pads. Those are usually made out of their fine foam pads, but they've taken bigger blocks, cut them to create these sponges that we use.
So your sponge is doing the washing, but the towel you might be thinking of afterwards is when you dry.
Well, I hope that's what it is.
Dry off using a microfiber towel. Yeah. That's fine.
But that's let's go back to the point where maybe the sponge was not good enough, so now I'm having to use a microfiber towel. So 2 things could be happening. One thing you want to do, pre-soak the surface with like an IK sprayer and some ONR, or you can use a waterless wash as your pre-soak.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little harder.
You can take waterless wash, or sometimes what I'll do is you can even take like a little bit of all-purpose cleaner, put it in with ONR in your sprayer, as your pre-soak, spray it down, and then come and wash it with the O&R afterwards. And that helps, one, rinse it, but also kind of take care of all that. So try that. Han says, Anthony looks a bit bony. Ridiculous says, what a skeleton crew. Yoshi says, we should have put a flannel on the skeleton. Fun fact, we actually took the flannel off the skeleton. It was dressed to look like me. Had my hat on and another flannel.
Couldn't be having double trouble there.
RSX saying, Anthony, put a shirt on. This is a family show.
That's right.
Poet says, Anthony sold his organs to buy a Civic Type R. He did. Yes, that's exactly what happened. Rob says, Levi, thanks to you, I've grown to love the Rupes Course Blue Wool TLC combo. However, on the black Escalade that I did, I got crazy haze that I had to follow up with. So you do. You can't. That's a good 80% on the soft stuff, especially like a black Escalade. Black GM paint is very soft. Honda's black. You can't get away with that. You got to have that, either that second step or change pads. That's why I like the maroon Eurofiber or Eurofoam. It's a good pad for that too. Or even just the yellow Rupes.
Yeah.
John Brooker says, congrats, Anthony.
Wonderful. And now I'm going to kick it over to page 2. Here's his follow-up.
How would you prime the pad? I did it like Jason Rose recommends on the Rupes channel. Nick and Marty, Pints and Polish, say that's way too much product. I use a lot of product. That's me. So I don't know how much you're using. I don't know what you think, but it just depends on the car and what you're working with. So
some paint's just thirstier than others. Yep.
John Brooker saying, Levi, how was your trip to Utah? It was great. We had a fun time, super fast, super quick. Kids did great. My daughter was the flower girl. My son was the ring bearer for the wedding, for my niece's wedding. It was great. One of the funny things that I'll tell you is Augie was upstairs with all the groomsmen and the groom, and they're walking back, and he's pacing back and forth, and he's agitated. And Connor, who is my niece's husband, goes, hey, Augie, you all right, bud? And Og goes, man, I'm just so stressed. So stressed out.
At another person's wedding.
At his wedding.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm just so nervous and so stressed. And he goes, yeah, me too, man. And me too. Like, all you got to do is walk down the aisle, bud, and hold that ring.
This is permanent for me, man.
Yeah, and I'm sure Augie's like, all you got to do is walk down that aisle and hold that. Like, it was really funny. But the fact that that's what Augie was like, I'm just so stressed and nervous. It's like, got him.
Nobody ever accused Augie of not having a personality. That's for sure.
That boy's lit. So, Alkaline saying, knowing Anthony, his kid probably already has VTEC. Probably came straight from the factory with VTEC.
Do not doubt it.
One of the great, stock factory options that this kid has. David Cervantes says, what's up, guys? Working with a single swollen finger. David, that hurts. How'd you swell your finger?
Oh. Well, hopefully it gets better.
Yeah. Gabe saying, which TRC towel will Anthony wrap his baby when he or she is born?
He's keeping everything super cryptic.
He probably won't even tell us that much, but I will tell you it's probably, he's a big fan of Pluffles.
Yeah, that's
My guess is he's probably already gone through and ransacked the boneyard for a dead avalanche. Avalanche towel.
Yeah.
That's what I could see. You guys don't know. Remember the avalanches?
Yeah.
They were a very large eagle towel.
Yeah,
like a 24 by 20 by 30 form. I think it was like a 20 by 30 eagle in white.
I think it was even bigger than that. I'm trying to remember now. Wow, I'm totally blanking. I used to remember. Yeah. Either way, very large towel, but he uses a big drying towel. 480 GSM. This is the earlier version of the Eagles.
First gen. David Cervantes saying, Anthony looks a little dead inside after having a child. Don't we all?
He's dead tired. All right. Laramie.
I know it's a big subject, but how much do you charge for paint correction?
Very subjective based on your location. Obviously, you know that because you're asking that way. But here in Boise.
Well, I'll just put it this way. What is your definition of paint correction?
Excellent counter, yes.
Because here's the thing. Here's the deal. So I have a buddy who dropped off his Lexus to me, his GX. And you saw it. It's a pearl white. Yeah. How'd it look to you?
Honestly, it looked great. Like, you said, oh, dirty, filthy. And I'm looking at, like, you could clean the glass a little bit, I guess. But other than that, the thing looked already cleaned, already relatively clear paint.
You saw the inside.
It looked like it had already been polished. The inside looked good. If you're doing a correction on that, it's a white truck, too. So there wasn't a lot left to do on
that.
Right.
So all he told me was, I got some scratches from the car wash.
Maybe like isolated scratches. I didn't even see those.
And taking it off road.
That looked way too nice considering it had been taken off road.
So I looked over it last night in my garage. I found like 3 scratches. And not even that deep and long.
He's just super particular.
And the truck's coated.
Okay, so they're probably in the coating and not the actual
I'm hoping.
paint.
So I'm going to just do a little, probably some Rupes Uno Protect on it to try and see if I can get them out without damaging the coating. And I might just recoat those panels, and that's it. Now, I'm not charging for paint correction.
Right, you're not charging doing the whole thing.
Just a one step and a light touch up with a coating. That is probably going to cost, I'd probably say, because the truck is immaculate. It's spotless. For me, $300. I worked on the interior last night. I got the whole interior detailed. It took me 45 minutes to get it all done.
What would you charge for like an interior deal like that typically?
Well, those are $150.
Right. Okay.
So, but where it was, truck was already clean. It's white. It's spotless. He keeps it super clean.
Yeah. Your work here was very minimal.
So my work is, I'll probably have total 3 hours into this job. So for me, $300 because I'm working out of my garage is fine. If he came into my shop and it was a normal customer nowadays, I'd probably say 400 tops. I'd probably try and sway him to just doing an exterior and not an interior detail and say, let's just fix these panels, call it good. The coating I put on was a coating we were testing 2 years ago that I put on there, and it's holding up just fine. Yeah. He runs it through a car wash every week. It's not a big deal. So, but flip side, I have a car coming in this weekend that is a car going to the Grand National Roadster Show. It's coming in fresh from the paint booth. They're putting the interior in. It hasn't been cut.
So they're expecting you to level some stuff.
It needs full color sanding, compounding, polishing, and then a bit of protection put on top. So
you're going to be in there with the paper before you even bother polishing anything.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm only doing that.
And that is not something you usually do for people because it's a lot of work.
No. And that is technically true paint correction. This car has been painted. It's fresh clear coat, but it has some slight little defects that I'm going to try and figure out. And I have it technically scheduled for the rest of the month in my garage, working on it evenings, weekends, all that. The job, I'm giving them a discount because they're family friends of mine.
Sure.
And the money I'll make off of it over the month basically covers what I would normally need to make for the month detailing out of my garage.
And you're going to hold on to it for a little while, space it out.
And I'm going to work on, I may only have 20 hours into it when I'm done.
Yeah.
But if this was anybody else off the street, we'd be starting at $3,000 and we'd probably be ending up anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 for this job.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it for less than that because, one, it's a car that is not close to me, but a car that has a lot of my idols into it.
Yeah.
And a car that kind of speaks to the growth of myself as a child and how cars are and what cars and how it kind of got me. You know, you guys will see a ton of pictures when I get it.
Oh, I'm sure.
But that car, I'm excited to do it because I look at it going like, not only is this going to be it'll hit magazines, it's going to hit the show circuit.
And with somebody else who corrected that.
Hopefully they'll say me. But the point is like, I'm doing that more as a hero project.
No, that's awesome.
But I'm telling you that on a low end would be $3,000.
Yeah.
Low end. But that's true paint correction. That's not
heavy duty
my buddy's car with a couple scratches in it that I'm polishing out for a couple $100.
And I can hear some people screaming, that's what it costs to paint my car. And it's like, yeah, but also if you want it to be borderline as close to perfect as you can get, because you can't achieve true perfection.
This car is going to be a driver. It's not a Riddler.
Right. He's going to be
a Riddler would go $20,000 to $50,000 to finish it out.
That's Jason level stuff.
And that's that, like the 37 we had in our booth. That's a Riddler contender.
And you look at it,
that
you
was
believe it when you see it in person.
500 hours.
You'll never see another car like that.
Sanding and polishing. 500 hours in sanding and polishing. That was a $1.6 million build on that car. Yeah. And it was almost $50,000 in just sanding and polishing.
Ford Coupe, right?
Yep. And $50,000 to $100,000 in just paint.
Yeah.
And paint work. So it really, paint correction, it depends. I usually lay it out this way. You've got a one-step, so you've got wax or sealant. Then you've got a one-step, which is a single compound or polish with a single pad. Then you have a two-step, which can be either a compound or a polish and two different pads. Or you can do three steps, where you've got a compound, a polish, and a finishing polish, or three different types of pads. And then you usually have your fourth step, which usually involves 3,000 grit sandpaper. So anything above that, if it's a personal car or a customer's car, I would never go above 3 steps. There's almost never a reason unless the car is destroyed. I've had customers who don't care about their trucks. Like, do you remember Thomas's uncle's truck that he borrowed?
Ah, yes.
It's just a work truck, hunting truck. He doesn't care. It's black, and he drives it, and it was scratched.
Yeah.
To snot. And that truck needed to be wet sanded, compounded, polished, and then it could come back out to a mirror. But that also means sacrificing the clear coat. But most people own that truck and
treat it that way. That's not something they'd even be interested in.
So that's the question. So it just depends on your area. It depends on the level of work. What I basically say, though, for folks is anywhere from $150 to $300 per step. And for every additional step after that first step could be anywhere from $100 to $150 additional or more, depending on what your hourly rate is and how long it takes you to polish a car.
Right. There's different sizes of vehicles. You're not going to treat them all exactly the same.
Right.
Like a Sprinter van versus a Miata is a very different story. So,
and the key is to always make sure you're making money. If you're one-stepping a car for 9 hours, and you're like, I've been polishing for 9 hours with one pad and one compound, what are you doing?
I would say on the upside,
if you're charging $300 for 9 hours, that's not great. If you're charging $150 for 9 hours, that's even worse.
It's a good time to be a detailer, though, because the car market being what it is, people are holding onto their cars longer right now, and they want to keep them nice. And like you did for a few of your customers in the past, where they were looking at getting rid of a vehicle, and then you actually did some work on it, and suddenly they were fine. They're like, oh, I guess I will keep it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, Poet's saying, does Anthony get an Eagle Edge's 500 bib at least? Yes, he can. Yeah. Graham, afternoon, lads. Happy Friday Eve. Not long finished the Monday podcast, so congratulations, Anthony. There you go. Soft Gummy Bear says, I see those stale gummy bears finally did someone in. Very nice, yes. The occasional gentleman. All right, guys. So it finally happened to me. Was out at my birthday brunch and was dead set on discovering the bottom of those bottomless mimosas and had an accident on the road home. Oh, no. I was able to completely make the vehicle spotless since the mess was small. However, I've gotten maybe 80% of the smell removed. Any tips on removing the remaining odor without an ozone machine?
What an appropriate username.
Ouch.
Oh, no.
You need to, if you got everything clean, keep the windows cracked, I would probably, for sure, try and make sure that you've used some Terminator. Mm-hmm. Break up those enzymes. Try and break those protein chains. I'd use a little peroxide, little finisher on there. And then, honestly, worst case scenario, you get an odor bomb.
Oh, yeah.
2 kinds of odor bombs. There's an ammonia bomb, where basically you fill it with water, you tear a tab, throw it in there, close your windows, and it fogs your vehicle.
It's like Mentos and Coke, but less explosive.
Yes. You can buy them. You can find them. They're just ammonia bombs or odor bombs for your car. And they're a 2-part system where you put water in with a tablet, creates a gas that basically kills bacteria and scents, smoke and smells.
Just don't hang out in there when that's happening.
You can buy those online. You can buy them on Amazon. You can buy them on eBay. You can buy them from a number of different distributors. You can get them from, I think Detailed Image has them. Detailer's Domain maybe. But you could just type in odor bomb. Simoniz makes a great one that is actually what they use in hospitals to kill. It's also a viricide that they use after when they're cleaning a hospital room. After that, they put this in the center of the room, fill it with water, throw the tab in, close the doors to that room, put a note saying this is being basically fumigated, and it goes through and kills any airborne diseases that are in the air, and that's how they sterilize a room. So you can check out those as well. But yeah, that's about all you can do.
Yeah. Now I'm happy to see.
And no, I didn't drive. My +1 drove us back to her place. I am sorry, man.
I'm glad you weren't.
Feel bad you didn't. Thank you for not driving. Graham says, as far as getting.
Oh, sorry. We got to go down to another page.
No, Graham says, as far as going regarding his better half's comment on getting this thing out of her. Ironically, she was saying the same thing 9 months earlier. Correct.
Oh boy.
Hod says, Dane the middleman.
Yes, I am. All right. Despacho.
Sup, guys? Do you prefer washing early morning or at night? I do both. I like early morning if I can get up in time, but I also really enjoy, like I wake up on a Saturday morning and I usually have a car to detail or something and I need to get on it or get it washed. I really like just sitting on the couch with my kids watching TV.
Yeah.
Till like 10 or 11. And then I go out and wash and then I kick myself because it's too hot or too warm or the sun's in the wrong spot.
Yeah. Something happens.
So usually what I try to do is if I get too far, then I'll wait till the evening and I'll wash it in the evening. I feel it's a little more fun. I can
Once the sun goes behind something.
Yeah, it goes behind my house and then I don't have to worry and my whole front's shaded.
Yeah.
That's more fun because then I can also make my kids go outside. It's harder in the morning to make them go outside. But if it's more of the evening, they can go out front, play with the neighbor kids, all that stuff. And I can be out there washing. I enjoy it a little more.
Sure.
So I'm going to say evenings.
Okay.
Yeah. Dane, what do you do over at the old the pay and spray?
Well, as you know, I'm not much of a morning person.
So you're a late night washer.
Yeah, late night owl thing. If I'm going to do it, my neighbors, they don't seem to mind, a little bit of sound of pressure washer at night or something. I'll be honest, I've only done that a handful of times. Usually I'm taking the old whip down to a pay and spray, kind of deal where, you got a full bay you can work with. That's what I got to do with the truck mostly. Maybe occasionally take it through a tunnel if I'm feeling psychotic and I want to drive my friends who are detailers crazy.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, you can handle a lot before it becomes a problem. So there you go.
Jesus, do car manufacturers use real animal leather in Honda newer cars?
Specifically Honda?
Yeah, specifically Honda? Not really.
I wouldn't imagine so.
So they do all leather. If it's real leather,
if they advertise it as leather without specifying vegan leather or something.
Imitation leather or vegan leather, it's usually a polyurethane mixture. Now, this is something I've been pushing Ram to really talk about because I think this is something that the industry needs to know more of is how leather is.
People are confusing now.
How leather's formed for car seats.
Right.
There's so many different levels. To the point that this will probably gross you guys out, but if you're in in a hide shop, they take the whole base of the hide, right? And let's say it's 7 layers thick, right? If it's a top grain, it's literally the top grain under the skin, under the hair.
Yeah.
So they shave it. That's top grain leather usually. It's the best first piece.
The finest.
Right. Top of the chain. Then you go to the next hide, second, third, fourth. Are usually your normal leathers.
They're coated, so it doesn't really...
They're dissected parts of the hide.
Yeah.
So what they usually do with those, that's when they put a sealant or a coating over that, and that becomes your car seats, your second, third, fourth layers. Nubuck and Napa and stuff are certain types of hides that are right under that first top grain layer.
Yeah.
So your normal car stuff's 3, 4, 5 kind of layer. 6, 7, possibly 8, basically become other things.
That's basically what's in your 95 Chevy Suburban and the
you're at the bottom of the barrel, literally.
Yeah.
And sometimes that 7th, 8th line of leather is shavings. So what happens is they take those shavings and they will broom them into a vat, mix in a little polyurethane. That is bonded leather.
Pretty sure that's how most fast food chicken nuggets are made too.
Basically. So there's a bunch of different ways that they make it, but usually it is usually always. Now, Tesla is just vinyl. It's polyurethane.
Yeah.
The Mercedes has a certain type of leather that's a vegan friendly. That means it's also just a polyurethane.
But when
vinyl.
you're thinking the real fancy animal hide stuff, that's Bentley and Aston Martin. A lot of these British companies
Aniline,
in particular.
Aniline leather, for one, is an uncoated leather.
Yeah.
So it's a true uncoated. This is the hide of the
everything
skin.
you put on it will end up being absorbed into
this is hide. Yeah. That's what it is. And so aniline is very difficult.
But
it's usually
feels
dyed.
Distinctly different. You can tell.
It's dyed and tanned, but that's about it. So and then stitched into your spots. So it's very, very cool thing, but I'm pushing on him to get a little thing made so he can start teaching on this, because I think a lot of folks would find this super interesting.
Lars and Rim have so much information.
Yeah, you can always reach out to them too. Han saying, loving the new orange pearl applicators. I've been using them with interior dressing. Well, that's an idea. And also with solution finish. It's a great product. Thank you, man. Paragon, happy Friday Eve. Been missing the TRC fam lots. Aww. And then RSX, hoping the new KCX products arrive before the next sale. Us too, but I'm not sure about it. David says those new Odysseys are super nice. I know, they're crazy.
They are.
So nice. OG Mario, quick question. Made a little mistake. Got a small polish residue stain on my girl's convertible top. What do you guys recommend to take it off? An all-purpose cleaner and a scrub brush. Honestly.
Make pretty quick work.
Try and clean it out. Scrub it out. Luca...
But not
Are rotaries returning on the detailing world, in your opinion? They never disappeared. What you saw was the fact that it was easier to learn how to detail with a dual action polisher than you did with a rotary.
It's beginner friendly compared
I started with a rotary.
Yeah.
When I started, we didn't have DA polishers. We had DA sanders. And I remember at 23 seeing a DA sander and going like, oh, that's kind of weird. And someone saying, yeah, I heard you could put a polishing pad on it. I don't think it would work very well. The rotary cuts and polishes better. So it wasn't until 2013, almost 10 years later, that the Rupes came out after that's when it was like, oh, this has the power to actually do something.
Yeah.
This has the power to actually correct. Before, it was just kind of a light, I'll just use the Harbor Freight or the Porter Cable. It's okay. I was always a rotary guy. I always grew up as a rotary guy. But the skilled
hands using it tend to make a difference.
Truly. It changed. You didn't have to worry about burning. You didn't have to worry about getting... For me, it wasn't... Our crew didn't burn paint. Our crew got hurt by the rotary. The rotary would jump.
They whip them.
Once I was working on the roof of a Subaru Outback, and I was running my rotary across. How that hurts! Just to even do that.
Yeah, your arms are not liking that.
But I was running it. I wasn't paying attention. I caught a little hump on those older Outbacks, and the rotary jumped, and the speed was still running. So when it jumped, it took off. And it had a handle on it, so you had the handle that you would grab.
Yeah.
That side handle swung up, hit me right in the face, right dead center in the forehead, knocked my glasses off. I had a concussion.
Oh, yeah.
Because
the
of that.
speed that's going.
And it hurt me. I had other friends who would not be paying attention while they're buffing. They get their headphones caught. They would not be paying attention while they were buffing.
The days before you got the cordless ones.
Yeah. They wouldn't be paying attention, and they'd get their hoodie strings caught. I had one guy got a T-shirt caught, and it ripped his shirt off of his body.
Remember that story, yeah.
I had one of my guys got hit by an antenna. He wasn't paying attention, and he just the edge of it caught the antenna, and it whipped the antenna down and back across and slapped him across the face.
That'll leave a mark.
And he was standing on a tire while he was doing that.
Oh, geez.
And so when it hit him, it threw him back off the tire.
Yeah, it's not just one thing. He's falling.
He
it's all
hopped
the other
up
stuff
and he
happening.
had the little Joker lines
smile
on his cheeks. But the rotaries, it was a lot harder to run. You had to learn a rotary, how to use it. And so to have a dual action polisher come in and make it easier for you to run, you could do a lot of stuff with it, which made the barrier of entry all of a sudden much easier for folks to get great results. And I remember feeling kind of pissed.
Yeah.
When I could see these guys that were doing really nice stuff, but had never held a rotary and gone like, what? I'm polishing cars out and I'm getting the finish out. I remember feeling jealous. I was jealous.
It's the exact same mentality you see in car enthusiast communities with people doing manual transmissions versus automatic transmissions. The people who had the manuals feel like, oh, if you're fast and automatic, it's not worth it. You literally just push the pedal and go. There's no thought involved. Whereas if you're shifting, and then people, because they couldn't gatekeep on that anymore, then they went, well, okay, a manual is only truly a manual if you're using a clutch. If you're not using that third pedal, then it's not really a manual. So you're not, or if it's not an H pattern, like all these different ways people could then be elitist about it. So it's always this kind of game people play. But at the end of the day, if the results are what you're looking for, there's really not anything to be upset about. However, in racing, there are categories for like, oh, you did it this way, you go in that category. And you just break it apart like that. But when it comes to polishing, hey, you know what? There's a lot of access now because
did you achieve what you needed to get done? Did you do it fast? Did you do it right? Doesn't matter the process.
Yeah. Did you get the result
happy and you got the results you wanted? Do it however you want.
Now you want to have a competition. That's another matter. Yeah. You figure that out for yourself.
Luke Berge saying, hey, y'all figured in I'd stop by from an extremely sunny Florida. Hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Luke, we miss you, brother.
Thank you, Luke.
Matt, what coating would you recommend for the roof box, CSL or EXO? It will see a lot of winter use, and I'll probably recoat it once a year. Then just go with EXO.
Yeah.
Aaron. Danny. Luke Berge, welcome to the Sunshine State. And then Aaron saying, will Koch Chemi Green Star dilute 10-1 work well with PNS finisher for the interior? You could do that. Yeah, you'd be all right.
Yeah, I saw that comment.
I'd probably dilute Green Star just a little more. 10-1 is still pretty strong. Caleb, 4 years using rotaries for correction. I try the DA and I just can't seem to get the hang of it. It doesn't feel right. Any tips to get my button gear and get used to it or keep picking up beads? That's a great question, Caleb. So everybody gets into that. I think I've said this. Folks who went from rotary to a dual action usually stick with dual action. Once they learn the tricks with a dual action that they can't do with rotary, they kind of stick with it. Those that never feel, I just can't get into a dual action polisher, find that forced rotation is much easier to fit into. And many forced rotation peoples don't really move to DA. They stick in forced rotation because it feels closer to a rotary.
So like they might be more comfortable with, say, like a gear-driven tool, maybe something like a melee or some along those lines.
Yeah, so Caleb, you might, if you haven't tried a forced rotation tool like a Rupes Melee or the Flex 3401, sometimes that really helps some folks. I went straight from rotary to Rupes 21, and I wanted to learn everything. I was a Rupes fanboy when they first arrived to the U.S., and I bought the first Rupes 21 Mark 1 21 here in Boise. First one in Idaho.
Body hanging on the wall.
Yeah, it's hanging outside over here. But it was 2012, December 2012. It was a 13 model, and I remember freaking out because it was twice as much as the cost of my rotary.
Oh yeah.
But I was really impressed with the technology and seeing what it could do and buying it. I remember burning up a ton of pads. It destroyed pads like nobody's business.
Because they weren't designed for it.
They weren't designed. They were designed for rotary use, not for this dual action. So there was a lot of damage in pads and old pads just being torn.
The tech and pads has come a long way if you look at anything.
From that was me, but I was more like, I'm doing this. I'm working on that. I'm going to learn to master this one. And that was kind of how I went. So it's up to you. I try a forced rotation if you're having issues. You can't get past the DA part. You don't like the stall. There's a lot of reasons. So.
Well, are you getting the results you want? If you're fine with that and you don't mind just not knowing the other one, that's okay. But if you really want to force yourself to learn, that's also valid. It's just purely up to you.
Yep. Patrick Tuggles, Levi, why did you stop detailing owning your own shop? I came to work at the rag company. Basic answer, I didn't feel like I could do both. I felt that because I did have that option to keep the business, to run it, to have somebody else run it for me, one of my guys who was a great person. But my wife said it correctly and said, I don't think you could turn off. And I also don't think it would be fair to the rag company if you were doing both. So, because if I was still trying to run my business during the day and evenings and weekends and everything, I would still be stuck in the day-to-day, which means I wouldn't be able to give 100% of my time to the rag company. You'd be in a lot
less videos for one.
Which was my new venture, and it was a lot of fun to be a part of this ground floor kind of thing with Dane and his folks and be in it. And that was one of the things. So also, I was working 100 hours a week with my shop, 60 to 100 hours a week, and my wife wanted me to work 40.
Your body wasn't exactly loving it
and it wasn't enjoying it either. But if I was trying to run my detail shop, that 100-hour work week would have really been 100 hours no matter what.
Yeah, can't get around that. The car's either done or it's not.
My wife would have been like even more upset. So. Yeah.
An email can usually wait.
Yeah, so now I just do it on the weekends, and I'm still hurting on the weekends, but it's fun. So, and Hans has it right. His body was a bit worn out by all the years of detailing. That was the biggest thing.
Yep.
Looking at my shoulder damage, my elbow damage, my hand damage.
You just lifted him like 5-10 minutes ago, and you're just like, nope.
Yeah, so it necessitated me sitting at a desk, not worrying about cars and stuff. All right, Poets from Mel, Hans closing. How did you like the pucks? And then Brionicle, what's up, everyone? I think it's rude how Anthony is just sitting there not talking. I know, I feel like I have to carry this whole thing.
Well, he's the strong silent type today, I guess.
Alkaline,
he's offering what he can.
Telling something that I really wish would have happened. Levi also sold the business for a pretty penny and is now secretly a multimillionaire, drives an Audi R8 on the weekends. Gosh, ooh. I wish. Dan, you weren't supposed to tell anybody when you stayed at my house and saw my R8 Secret's collection. Hans says, I haven't played with the pucks yet. I did try the orange ones, but in the pucks are like the orange ones. They'll be very good, if they are. Jonathan saying, does it make perfect sense to wash a truck well, then go straight to bead maker, then DreamWorks? Truck doesn't need a polish. Yeah, you could do that. I'd give a bead maker at least 30 minutes to an hour to set up before you put Dream Maker on top.
I was going to say, DreamWorks is a film studio.
Yeah. Philip, back to gloss meters. In my experience, gloss units decrease after a ceramic coating. That doesn't make sense. However, it just shows a coating is on the surface and decreasing the reflected light. Yep, that's what I've been saying. That's right. Thank you for that. Definitely not Luke Berge. Hey, all, if you're curious, if you know whether or not I can foam O&R on my car to remove traffic film, can I dry it with my chamois? Also, would it leave a shine that I could see on my gloss meter?
Oh, he's just hitting all the points.
And then Luke says, some people, jeez.
Oh, man, what a...
Philip says, so a gloss meter is just a reference tool, not a defined measurement the world can reference. Basically, too many variables. Exactly. Way too many variables.
In reality, yes. In a vacuum, it's a great idea. It's just how you accomplish the numbers you're getting. It makes it really hard to get a real accurate... the big thing with that kind of stuff is whether you can replicate, like in science, whether you can replicate an experience, the conditions, all that stuff. If you can't replicate it exactly, then it's not truly
it's also,
as accurate as you might think it is.
Esoteric made a video on a gloss meter. It was a very, very expensive gloss meter, one that most shops probably wouldn't buy.
Well, there's big price differences between the
but he was using a real one, and even he was having issues after detailing the car to see if he could get a sustainable amount that was great enough to actually show an improvement. And a lot of that was the placement of the vehicle they found based on the way the lights were hitting the surface. And so...
Which is what I was kind of mentioning earlier.
So, it's just there's so many variables that can change.
It's not like a paint depth meter where it's actually doing the measuring in a way that you could replicate.
Right, and that's why Anthony and I talk about...
Based on the types of metals it detects, all that stuff.
Right, and that's why Anthony and I talk about a lot of the gloss enhancers. There's much more gloss enhancers in Europe and the UK than there is in the U.S. You've got folks that are more overcast days, a lot of more islandish ends of the Atlantic.
They have to work harder to get stuff to really
There's a lot more cloudy days, and so they bring out different gloss enhancers to pop on those occasions, where here in the sunny parts of the U.S. and, parts of Europe, we don't need that. So it doesn't change it as much, but... A good cloudy day with some sunlight popping through the clouds, man, you can make a car. That's like the perfect time to put stuff on a car. So, all right, Han says, definitely not Luke Berge, only if you had to paint a brake buster or O&R mix. Scott says, what would cause a synthetic clay mitt to...
Ooh,
I can't read that.
I'll pull that back up.
I have used to mar or scratch paint. I've used it many times with no issue. Last time I made a mess on black paint and had to use compound step when I wasn't planning on it. One is wear. Two, just wear. Two, the clay could harden, which makes it a little more harder to scratch, meaning it's going to actually be rougher.
What kind of lubrication are you using?
Less lubricant, more pressure causes marring and scratching. I had one of my employees at the time. I was trading in one of my vans for my other van, so one black van for a new black van. And I said, hey, it's coated, had gloss coat on it. And I said, let's just do a quick light clay no pressure, and that's all I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So he starts claying the side, and I instantly hear it. And he gets 2 panels done, and and I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And he goes, what? And I go, I can hear you. Lighten up. And he goes, I am. And I said, no, you're not. And I said, stop what you're doing, rinse the panel. We dried it. And I said, look at all the scratches you just put into the paint. And he's like, oh my gosh. And I said, he goes, you want me to just not do it? And I said, no, just don't do it so hard. And he sprayed the next fender. Yeah. And I said, just set it on there and wipe it on. That's all you got to do. And he did. And it came out
felt like
fine.
It was like wiping a compound or something. Gotta get it in there.
Yeah, he was rubbing it pretty hard. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. All I had to do was lightly polish that panel, recoated those parts, and sent the car. But I was like, holy cow, my version of light was not his version of light pressure.
My hard work is being erased as we speak.
It was literally like, you are literally just setting it on the surface, and you're letting it move itself around. You're not putting any pressure on it. No. But he was like trying to get that noise,
Contrary to popular belief, it is actually doing something, even when it's just gliding along the surface. Yeah. You're actually doing something.
All you're doing is catching those spots, and you're going to pull them out. That's it. So that might be it. Scott, your version of pressure, no pressure, is less than my version, or Dane's. We've all got different hand pressures. Darren, what would you recommend for protecting the rubber around windows and seals? No restoring needed. Any type of water-based dressing is fine. You could put some on there and just put it in a little bit. Sometimes you can put on paintbrush, get it in there just to have some on there. Not too bad.
All right. So before we get any more questions, we do have a brief break we're going to hit up here. But don't worry, we'll be back with more comments and questions after this.
Hey guys, it's Anthony of the Rag Company, and do you know what's better than Q&A Thursday? Yes, that's right, it's Wash Wednesday. Not just because I host it, but because it is a genuinely entertaining and hopefully informative series where we take cool cars, cool owners, and wash in an impromptu interview setting. So make sure to check out Wash Wednesdays right here at the Rag Company YouTube channel. See some cool cars, see some cool people, and maybe learn a thing or two.
Hey guys, Levi for the Rag Company. And in case you've been living under a rock these last few months, well, have I got news for you. You can go back and binge the TRC Rex content you want. That's right, we have neared the end of our TRC Rex build. What is TRC Rex? Well, it's our 2004 Subaru WRX STI, and we literally bought this car and completely rebuilt it. So go to the Rag Company YouTube channel and you can binge literally from the start all the way to today, which, well, we're pretty much done. But the point is, you can do just like Netflix and binge every single episode from the comfort of your couch. So go check out TRC Rex right here, the Rag Company YouTube channel.
Hey guys, it's Anthony of the Rag Company, and here on the Rag Company YouTube channel, we've launched something new and exciting. We all love seeing garage tours and seeing how other people's garages are laid out, and we thought we would do our own twist on that. And while we aren't so obsessed, we're definitely good enough. And so what we want to do is make an entire new series, bring you guys along and doing garage tours of different people's garages to see layouts, what they've done with the walls, what they've done with the floors, what they've done with the lighting, the storage, the tools, the detailing products, and so on. It's going to be a really cool series to hopefully give you guys new ideas and maybe make it more relatable to everybody watching. It's not Obsessed Garage, but it's definitely good enough garage. So check that out here on the Rag Company YouTube channel.
Hello, and welcome back. And Levi just walked into the room here. Man, these breaks are quick, but I was going to take the opportunity to say we will have a new garage tour coming out this weekend. Surprise! We will have one coming out here, so you can look forward to that. I believe this one will be Jimmy's.
Yeah,
so that should be cool.
Get to see Jimmy's little spot that he created in his dad's garage. So that'll be nice. I'm excited to see exactly what that's gonna look like.
Yeah. So look forward to that one coming out on Saturday. I typically release them around 9 a.m. our time, Mountain Standard Time, 9 a.m. on Saturday. Yeah. So look forward to that. All right. So back to the comments, questions. Anything you want to touch on before we go through these?
No, we've got a lot of comments.
All right. So yes, we do.
Here we go. Definitely not Luke Berge again, saying diluted or straight brake buster. Could I also use my clay towel with tar remover to remove tar fast? No, don't do any of those things.
If you want to destroy a clay towel, tar remover is a great way to do it.
In a foamer, run it straight out of the bottle if you want on a sprayer. All right, alkaline top hat. My coworker wants to correct and coat his new truck that has a bed cap. Would it be best to coat the truck with CSL XO and the cap with a marine ceramic base top? You could.
I guess he's thinking because fiberglass, gel coat,
yeah, gel coat top. Stuff. Yeah, you could do that if you want. But the difference is a shell is still clear coated, just like a Corvette. Still clear coat.
And that's the part you're touching.
Not gel coat like a boat. Gel coat is usually an impregnated color into those panels. So
even if it is fiberglass,
if it's just fiberglass with paint and clear coat, you could do that and you'd be just fine. So I would say CSL XO would be just fine on a top. So
trick question: how do you treat a Corvette? The same as other cars. So
same way.
There you go.
And Dan follows up: is it necessary to use both the marine base or top, or is it more like CSL and can be layered with XO? It's kind of a combo. It's a very strong coating, I will tell you that. So. Hans says to not Luke Berge, like Whiskey Man, straight. To remove tar, grab an angle grinder. It's way faster. Good work.
Okay.
Good work.
Well, that's not our advice.
And then Dan with the one-to-one brake buster joke again. I love it. That's how I roll. Diego, hey guys, how do you guys clean a panel after applying tar remover like Ulex? I feel like I'm removing it with a microfiber is not enough as it leaves a film in the paint. You can wash them. A lot of people do that. They really basically get... you can wash it, and then you can also degrease, put degreaser on to try and kind of help clarify the surface, or you just soap and water. It'll usually get it. No problem.
All right.
David Cervantes says, Levi, no clue how it got swollen. Pretty sure it's infected. That's the worst,
sorry,
man. I hate that. And then Demon Force says, I've never polished before, and I'm starting to see some really fine paint clear swirls. How should I handle the clear on a 2021 Trailblazer before the Minnesota winter? Honestly, if they don't bother you, you could just protect them with whatever you want. You could even just put a coat of wax on it.
Something might fill it in, and then you won't see it anymore.
And you'll be fine. If those scratches are bothering you, you can lightly polish it. You could go get a Harbor Freight dual action polisher, get a couple pads from us, grab some Last Cut, do a light polish on it, and then protect it. You'll be just fine. It's not that bad. But yeah, it's really up to you on how it bothers you. Because I've got some folks who really don't bother the fine paint, clear swirls. So they'll just coat it, run it back through the car wash again. Or wax it, run it through the car wash, seal it. They don't care. So it really just depends on what you want to do, especially before the winter.
And despite being a newer vehicle, it's still good to try and preserve as much of your clear and paint as you can. So don't go digging through it just to go fix stuff and then wind up costing the second or third owner an entire paint job. But then again, if you don't care about that sort of thing.
Yeah. Darren, for buffing off polish on a GX, should I use an Eagle 500 or is Edgeless 365 soft enough? Totally fine. 365s are fine. David, also, how would you guys clean super sensitive electronics? I have an interior light bar and vintage siren in my truck, and I would like to clean them. Damp O&R towel, express state on the towel. I would do a damp O&R, David. Damp O&R.
That's always the safest.
Chris Diggett says, what I mean is the big black sponge does not pick up the same amount as of first as an Eaglet 350 plush. Okay.
That's true.
And that may just be the way you wash. It's totally fine. I just find myself more comfortable with the black sponge than I do with
the sponge. Is going to release it a lot easier than the towel will.
That too.
If you're not reintroducing the towel,
now you can run back over. You can wash, hit that panel, dunk it, rinse it out.
Yeah.
Do that panel again.
Also acceptable.
So,
Caleb,
follow up to my rotary question. I also only used cheaper DAs that only seem to vibrate more than polish. I want to buy all Rupes machines and see how it goes.
Oh, boy.
Just get yourself a 15 if you want.
You can do darn near everything with a 15. And for the tiny stuff, having an hybrid is wonderful, but it's not necessary if you're only doing that once in a while. You can hand polish small areas.
And you can hit some of that with the 15 and be fine.
Yeah. And the 15 is more
Luke says the PNS Odor Dock works great on them odors for an odor bomb. It does. I don't know if we have any in stock, but you can check. Alkaline Dan saying, Levi, I watched the video on polishing boats this week. Why'd you choose a rotary for correcting the paint? Is correcting with a DA too slow for gel coats? Yes. So we cut with a rotary, polished with the dual action. So that's why. It's much faster, easier to cut on gel coat with a rotary. Kirby Thompson, afternoon, Levi and Dane. Mercedes-Benz leather vegan was MB Text.
Ah, remember MB Text.
Right. Yep.
Text.
Yep, there you go. Thanks, Kirby.
Where are we? We're on page 1, so we're not as far behind as I thought.
No, everybody stopped answering questions.
Yeah.
Kirby Thompson's, I think that's what they called it. Yes, you're right. Mm-hmm. Luke Hahn saying, hold on, Nicole. The press, Mr. Owen, our former, is back on the house. And then Cardos saying, saludos. Is there any detailing product tool that doesn't exist now but would like to see, or maybe a modification that you would like to see on something to make it better? Wow. So
basically farming out detailing product ideas.
Yeah. One, I'm not going to tell you that.
Crowdsourcing
here. Two, I am going to say that in
give him your worst backup idea.
2004, I was walking around SEMA, and I was looking for a tool that I could use to reach into windows. And I had an idea, and I remember walking around and asking people, do you have anything for glass? Clean glass. It's not.
Might it be shaped like a triangle?
Like a triangle or a flat square
on an arm.
This was the year 2004.
Pivoting head.
And I thought, man, how great would that be if I could just put a piece of fabric, like a fresh new towel.
Oh yeah, use a material that'll make it stick to it well.
And then I could clean the glass, because I was thinking about at that time how many cars I was doing a month.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, man, it'd be nice on the minivans when I could reach down into the cracks and the crevices that I couldn't get with my hand, or I'm up on the dashboard and I'm trying to reach to get in there. I was just thinking of all those back when when my joints were still good and my body, like just doing that hurts.
When you could do that without even thinking about it.
Yeah, just reaching that hard to try and pretend to do the window hurt me.
So
that I remember looking for that and going like, man, someone needs to invent that. 24 years old, I'm like, man, how cool would that be if somebody invented that? Not in my own head going like, wonder if I could get that going off the ground, or I could patent that, or how do I do that?
Nope.
Like, I just remember walking around going like, if I only had a reach, and I was jokingly calling it a reaching broom from Simpsons when Homer gained all that weight to work at home. I thought, I was like, he said, where's my if I only had my reaching broom. But that's literally what I was calling it. And it's just funny that's, the Stoner's Perfect Glass makes a version of it. A ton of different companies make a version of it. And now I think back, I'm like, man, I was still like 6-8 years before that thing even debuted in like 2010, 2011. So, oh well. But that's the only thing I think. There's a lot of stuff, everything's changed in the last 10 years of detailing. Surprisingly.
Innovation is still possible. There's lots of things I'm sure that are out there that haven't been invented yet that'll be great, additions to the detailing lineup. What I find more frustrating sometimes about inventions is that they're solving problems that were never really problems to begin with. You get some products out there where you're just like, okay, they thought long and hard and they found this problem. But really, it's just creating more where you're ultimately setting yourself back, or you're just kind of in the same place you would have been if you just hadn't used the product.
Yeah.
But oftentimes it's just a scheme. Oh, we'll just sell some stuff and hope it works out. What I'm really fascinated by is when something comes along that just never crossed your mind, and then you have that look. And that's the sign of a truly great product, is when you go, I don't know how I lived without this whole time.
Yeah.
It's just, it suddenly pops up and wow, that solves something I never even thought about. So yeah, that's what everybody's hunting for. But if you can really find that and make people say that, you've truly stumbled on something great.
Yeah, that's a big thing, is just trying to
notice we haven't given anything up though yet.
Well, I'll say like one of the ones that was really surprising for me was Tom with the For Real.
Oh, the For Real's great.
That was amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Like that's a great item. that works.
And it's like an evolution of some old detailing hacks, but it's so much better when you're actually using it.
Exactly.
Night and day compared to some of the hacks.
Dan saying, I can already tell G. Davis is working on a story about Dane and shirts getting ripped off.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Madison Rick says, I'm loving the decor.
Well,
Thank
good.
you.
It's going to be around all month.
Yeah. And then Hans says, yeah, that was what I was thinking. Come on, G. And then Dan says, G. Davis is probably too busy telling the ladies of Meridian about his rotary action.
Oh, dear. Helicopter.
Hey,
all
Dan
right.
Smith sent us a super chat.
Hey.
$20.
Wow.
Thank you,
Hey,
Dan.
Anthony, you should be clapping
Man,
right now.
Anthony, come on.
Okay,
What the heck,
I'm not
man?
even gonna.
Jeez.
Our afraid will
thank
fall
you,
over.
Dan. I appreciate it, man. That's amazing. So,
Thank you.
Justin Koshman, howdy, partners.
Hey, hey.
Hans saying, I bet he's playing helicopter in the streets of Meridian.
Oh, dear.
Jamie the cleaner saying, any plans on bringing over the PNS Inspiration fabric coating, or is G-Technic Smart Fabric just the way to go? So, yeah, we have a bottle of Inspiration fabric coating here, but it's not our lineup.
Right.
It's not in our main line. We have it here in the studio, but we just don't have it in the lineup. It needs more work. Compared to the other fabric sealants that we have, like Smart Fabric, like Ragtop, like Color Locks Waterproofer, it doesn't hit the mark enough for Anthony and I. So that's why we haven't brought it on.
That's fair.
When it gets, as the first generation of it, when it gets a little more of a refresh or Dave gets around to touching it up, then we'll talk about it. But
well, we're known for being selective with the products we
are.
carry. There's a lot of lines where we don't carry every single product.
And it's not
that
out
a
of
company
laziness.
makes.
A lot of it
No.
is because Anthony and I test every single thing and we decide whether or not we want to bring it on. We're going to be bringing on a couple new products from PNS that are part of their professional line.
Yeah.
That we're bringing on that aren't part of the double black because we really like them.
Yeah.
And, there's some other products that we're bringing on that are coming in that we're really excited about. So we pick those products that we like that work because when we sell them to you, we want to make sure they work. We want to know that they work.
Well, there's a certain confidence level associated with the fact that, okay, I can count on this. I've tested it in lots of scenarios. I can comfortably offer this to you as I would a friend. I'm going, try this. I'm positive it'll work based on what you're telling me because I've been in that situation. It worked great for me. Have at it. That's when you feel comfortable selling a product. So, yeah, like when I've seen some comments like, oh, shilling for XYZ product, it's like, well, that's because we actually believe in it.
Yeah.
That's because you guys have actually tested it and you can vouch for it. So, yes, when we offer something up, it's because they can actually stand behind it.
Caleb, follow up to my follow-up. My rotary corrections are almost perfect. Mainly, all 3 steps. Compound, polish, ultra-fine polish. I work in a body shop, and that's all I use.
That's the body shop way.
Here we go, Caleb. Here's my follow-up. After your 3rd step, order some panel wipe. I want you to wipe with panel wipe, and I want to see
AKA truth serum.
50-50 of what your panel looks like. And that's a true test, my friend. I'd love to see it. I think it'd be great.
It humbles a lot of people.
There are a lot of folks who who think they can get that far. So kudos to you. If you can get them perfect and you wipe and you're like, check it out, I'll be like, I will eat my hat and I will say, okay.
Well, and once again, critically, if this is for your customer and that's what they want, great. But if you're saying this and you're saying, fact, it is this, and then you wipe that on there, then it's not. Well, if you're competing with other detailers, that deserves to be looked at.
Yep.
But for your customer, you make them happy. That's what matters.
There you go. Dan Smith, with the advancement of coatings, mainly the ease of application, are sealants and waxes inefficient? Yes and no. I still equate it to the age-old information of saying waxes to your paint are like a t-shirt and shorts. Mm-hmm. It's great protection when you're naked. It's far better protection to have a t-shirt and shorts on instead of being naked.
Well, and everybody loves a good graphic tee. Looks good.
Yeah. But, Dane, when it's cold and rainy out, is a t-shirt and shorts really the best outfit?
I'd probably rather not be in this if it were,
you'd like maybe
heavy weather happening.
Let's say I gave you, it's cold like it was this morning. It was 34 degrees this morning.
Yeah.
Long sleeve shirt and pants. A little more bearable, right?
Yeah. I had a hooded sweatshirt on.
Right. Better protection than the t-shirt and shorts.
Definitely.
But if it turns to 85, 90 today and all you have is that sweatshirt pants, you're not going to be that comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? It's still not going to be that comfortable.
No.
A coating is going to be, you're going to go up snowboarding. You got a snow pants and a snow jacket.
Put on a parka.
Good protection, right? Great protection for that situation. But if it's hot, it's not really going to be that great.
I need something to breathe a little bit.
Right. So every situation calls for a different thing. If you've got I have a customer who literally only wanted his car coated every year because he wanted to be able to run it through a car wash every year. And the way he saw it was the last car I owned, I ran through the car wash and we had to compound and polish the ever-living snot out of it to get the scratches out. And then I basically shortened the lifespan of the clear coat, so I've really screwed the car up.
Yeah.
The next car, I'm going to ceramic coat it, and every year I'm going to ask them to just do a light polish to remove the car wash scratches, but it's out of the coating, not out of the clear coat.
No, it's the definition of a sacrificial layer, and it's a marriage of convenience by having that ability to put another layer on, spend the next year wearing it off. Put another layer on, spend the next year wearing it off, and you're not hurting what's underneath.
Yep. And then that same customer has two other vehicles. One is original paint on a pickup, an 86 GMC Sierra, original paint, black original paint that his dad only ever waxed.
Okay.
Took the truck hunting, took the truck all over. I've corrected it once.
So it's got a lot of character.
I've only corrected it once in the better part of 15 years, and it looks like brand new black paint.
Dang.
That truck only ever gets wax because to him it's not broke, don't fix it. He also it's a garage queen.
I was gonna say he's not driving that one through.
He keeps it immaculate. He doesn't drive it through the car wash. He hand washes that at home. He loves waxing it himself. That's his kind of therapy. He loves putting a good coat of wax on it.
Sentimental value there.
That truck gets waxed. The other truck that's going to be his daily and it gets all the abuse and drives through the car wash, all that, that's going to get coated because of that. Now he's got a couple other cars at home.
Sure.
He may get a coating on one. He may get a sealant on the other because of how he wants to care for them.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean any one of those options is somehow obsolete now. It's just preference.
It literally depends on your customers. Some of them don't realize that, a lot of them will come in every 6 months. They'll run their cars through the car wash and they're fine with just a 9-month sealant on it or a 1-year sealant because it's going to get washed off anyway. And every 6 months they're coming to see you anyway for a top up.
That way you're not buying some very expensive, super hardcore long-term thing. You're getting something that's going to make sense for the next year, and then when it comes time to pop it back on there, it's not a huge
boils back down to listening. But you're right. The ease of application or sealants and wax is efficient. A product like Soul, Inspiration Soul,
perfect,
is so easy to use, so fast.
Smells good too.
Smells good. You get all the 3 benefits that you would with a wax in the sense that it's fast, easy, therapeutic, smells good. You could do the same thing. Anybody can do it.
Yourself.
You can teach your kid to wax a car. You can teach your kid to use this coating. That's how easy it is.
Yeah.
It only lasts a year. Is that technically the best coating there could be? Because it's so easy and simple to put on?
It really depends on the person doing it. And who's reaping the rewards there.
Yeah. That's literally what it is. It's something that you could literally teach Liz to use Soul, put Soul on her car, and then you guys could do it, and you're like, well, it's just going to keep the car nice.
On paper, it makes a lot of sense to me.
But she may still want to run it through the car wash. She may want to go months without washing it. She might not care, but at least it's somewhat protected, and you're happy, and it's
stuff's happening to the Soul and not to the actual.
Yeah, but it didn't take that long, and you could do it again next year when you get it detailed by so-and-so.
Yeah.
It's totally up to you. So it really depends on the customer, depends on how they care for it, and it really depends on what you want to do. But you're not wrong, Dan. UM Distributors saying, Wepa! Hey, sending hugs from Puerto Rico, guys. What's up? So guess what? Puerto Rican restaurant just opened up right across the street from my old detail shop.
Ooh. Is that where
it's called Wepa.
Is that where Chapala's used to be?
No, Dane. Oh. So do you remember when you'd stand inside my shop and you'd open those garage doors?
Oh, that way, the other way. Oh, okay. I was thinking.
And there was a white building that had a car lot with a couple garage bays.
Oh, so now
they built it they completely gutted that building, turned it into a restaurant. It's going to have a rooftop patio.
Oh my God.
Overlooking the beautiful gravel parking lots of Garden City.
That's why I was confused. I'm like, well, nobody's going to build a restaurant deep in that neighborhood.
They did.
They did.
They opened it up like 2 months ago. Yeah, they're thinking long term. Yeah. But it's a Puerto Rican restaurant.
Dang.
So we're going to have to go next week and go get some mofongo.
Yes.
And it's going to be a good time. So Deep Clean, what compound would you recommend? Jescar compound or TLC? Thanks. Well, because we sell the Last Cut, I'm going to recommend the Last Cut.
But we sell Last Cut because these guys have actually used it extensively and believe in it, and Jace is a great guy.
It's good. Benji Sims, I know you recommend washing all towels before you use. Do you recommend washing pearl pucks before using for coating? I don't. So, Dan Smith says, may I please have Anthony's link for the steamer so I can give him credit when I purchase one? Dan, I think it's in. Did we put it in that steaming video that I did?
It may have been in your steaming video. Otherwise, I'm just going to say there's a certain channel. It just happens to be called All Day Anthony.
There is a YouTube channel.
Interior detailing. And if you find a video where said All Day Anthony, different guy apparently, is working on a red Honda Civic and he steams the interior,
I'm sure
he has links in the description.
I'm sure he will give him a cut for that. Sure, his friend All Day Anthony.
We don't benefit from that at all. That's purely his own thing. Yeah. So you make your own decision as to how you want to proceed.
But I would check. Hopefully one of our guys did that link, Anthony's link for that. So, but it's if not, Dan, email me, levi@theragcompany.com, and I'll send you the link. Han saying, Diego Rodriguez, a little bit of O&R after Ulex might help remove that film. There you go. Mm-hmm. And then Dan saying, when is Power Clean coming in? So I didn't know we were out of stock on the website. I was just in the store 2 hours ago, and I saw some Power Clean in there.
Apparently it's not there anymore.
I don't know. Maybe we sold out. I don't know. But point is, I saw it. So hopefully it's there. It might just be out of stock on the website. Weaver Details. Are the Simoniz odor tabs as effective as an Ozone machine? Yes and no. They're great for when you're in a pinch and you don't have an Ozone machine. Nothing beats an Ozone machine. Tubbin and Tubin. What results should I expect after applying bead maker over a Meguiar synthetic spray wax on a vehicle that's not ceramic coated? Minimum of 6 months. Maximum of 6 months, minimum about 3.
Yeah.
Just depends on where you are, temperatures, weather, how you wash, all that stuff.
The acidity of your rain.
Yeah, a lot of factors can change that. But you should be good for at least 3 months, possibly even 6.
Well, and because we're on the first page, we can kind of extrapolate on this stuff. You've noticed when it came to, expand on this stuff. When it came to like bead maker and someone said, it didn't last as long as I thought it would. A lot of times people were finding that the water behavior changing wasn't necessarily the issue. It's just that their car wasn't cleaned before they went, the water's not the same. Yeah. You clean it, bead maker's still there.
Yeah, if you cleaned your car and dried it off and then you went to wash it again, you're like, wow, look at that water behavior before you put bead maker back on. So
it's sometimes you read some of these comments and you just go, come on, buddy.
Man, my car's
dirty and I washed it. Come on.
The dirt's sticking to it.
Yeah. The traffic film. Yeah. Levi, traffic film.
Nestor, thoughts on mixing brake buster and iron buster in an IK foamer? Nestor? The Rag Company does not endorse the mixing of brake buster and iron buster, nor do PNS and its affiliates. Now, if you want to do that by yourself and you want to live dangerously and you want to put it in an IK foamer,
that's all you, boo.
On you, man. You accept all rules, obligations, and liabilities.
Just remember,
that are
we never said to do that.
We have never told you to do that. Snake Eyes 86, are the Smitten glass mitts coming back into stock? We are working on a redesign on the Smittens. They are currently in production. I can tell you that much.
But anything else? Nah.
Yeah. Han says, I use Tom's Buff Bright light mount as a mount for my carabiner that's on my detailer helper belt. That way I can hook up my polisher when working on a ladder when polishing campers and motorhomes. Great idea, Hans. When buffing off the compound and not having the risk my Rupes will fall down the ladder. Smart. That's a great use for that tool.
That really is.
Graham, is TRC currently at the dead center of Boise? No, we are a little to the west, northwest of the center of Boise, but more welcome to check it out. You can look on Boise, Idaho on Google Maps.
Yes, he's making a joke because of Anthony. Also, on paper, we're in Garden City, or are we?
Well, we're right on the outskirts. Garden City's across the street.
The two are basically the same.
It's literally like across the street.
Santa Monica's really part of LA, that kind of thing.
But no, I was looking at that too. It's kind of funny that I was listening to a podcast where the guy who can't remember his name, but the one who plays Roy Kent in Ted Lasso.
He's everywhere.
Yeah, he's a comedian. He's got his podcast. He was talking about how his writing partner, whenever he comes up with an American town, he adds Boise, Idaho as the American town in his stories and like spec stuff they write.
Because they just like the sound of it.
Yeah, and he goes, a good old American town like Boise, Idaho. And I just thought that was funny to hear these UK guys talk about that, who were just saying that is
an infectious show if you haven't watched it either.
Yeah, pretty good.
Really fun stuff. All right, we got Jamie here.
Good to know on the fabric coatings. Levi, would you offer something like fabric coatings as an extra or included after an interior detail? So I added so it depends. Coming into winter, I used to run a special, a winter pickup, like prep package that included Scotch, basically fabric coating your interior, carpets and fabrics.
I was like, for the people out there who do like Scotch Guard type stuff, is that still relevant?
Oh yeah, you could totally use Scotch Guard too. If you're in a pinch, you go grab it at Albertsons, or at Kroger's. They have it at Home Depot. You can pick up Scotch Guard. So, but I would add it to an interior package. So I'd basically do like, hey, not only am I doing, we'll do an interior detail, and instead of just doing like a wax or a sealant, you could bump it up to something like CTV3 or something for the exterior.
Sure.
So it's more of a wash, seal, and interior detail with a fabric protectant on your carpets to help prevent, to help kind of limit the amount of slush and water that's coming for the winter. It just helped, because what I tell people is fabric coatings aren't designed to be fully waterproof. They are designed to prevent water from penetrating the fabric for a number of minutes. That's the way it works. So I'm driving down the road, I turn a corner, I spill my soda all over my floor or my coffee or whatever. For a minute to 2 minutes, it's going to sit on the surface before it penetrates that sealant.
Yeah.
That's the time that you keep a towel in your car.
Yeah.
And you keep it in your center console, and you take it out and you throw it.
It's enough time for you to notice and react. I remember when I worked at Home Depot, when I worked around the flooring department or something, that was always something people took into consideration, was like different types of flooring had different levels of a time period in which spills were acceptable before it became a problem.
Right.
So, yeah, that was like a measure.
So that's basically the same way it works with a carpet interior fabric protectant. So because it's never going to be 100% waterproof, because you got to remember microscopically what those fibers look like. Right. So you've got to figure out a way to create a barrier around each one of those individual fabrics. And that's hard. So it's very difficult to do that without wicking action, meaning that liquid sits, makes its way down, it will penetrate somewhere. And once it finds that way, it all goes that way. And it then fills up those fibers as quickly as possible. So it's just capillary action. So when you got when you've got that sealant on the fabric, you only have a minute, 2, 3, 5 minutes. Sure. You can't just like let it fall, let it sit, drive to work, I'll get it later. Now,
saturate.
Right, it's going to saturate, it's going to sink. So that's why keeping a towel in your car, And that's what I would also do is I'd throw in a towel to all my detailers, their details. And I would say that, hey, I put that fabric coating in. The fabric coating is on the fabrics, but it's not going to prevent it fully. This towel, keep it in the car, keep it close, keep it accessible. The car is now clean.
Time is important.
If that happens, throw this towel onto the spot. A lot of people, 90% of the time, you spill your coffee, you spill your soda all over your seat, you're going to pull over.
Yeah.
You quickly pull over to pick that up off the ground.
If you still have like the human survival instinct, the preservation instinct, you're going to do that as soon as you find a safe place to do
You will do that. And you will try and do it as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Because you want to salvage whatever you've lost.
Usually with a lot of cussing along the way.
Yeah. So then you pull over, grab your towel, pat it all down, get it on the towel. Then it's in the towel and not on the surface. That's how it helps it. The other thing, this is something that a lot of people don't think about, but here's what it does. Come springtime, any of that staining, any of that damage that is actually staining the carpet where they see it is much, much easier to remove because it hasn't fully bonded with those fibers.
Yeah, only a little bit of it.
So the carpets will clean much easier. So if you have new carpet, it's good to do this because it cleans much easier. So I was always a big proponent of fabric sealants for that reason, but I usually loved just putting them into a package because people would buy them just because of that. You could also do it as like a $30 to $40, $50 upcharge, and people will do that very quickly, easy. And it only takes you 2 minutes, 3 minutes to spray and brush and get it in there.
I was going to throw out a hypothetical because we got time. We got comments on the first page here. We're okay. It's only like 336, but this is going to be a weird one. What about carpeted fender liners? What's a good way to approach those?
You could do the same thing.
Easier to clean them.
You could do the same thing, but the biggest thing is if they're dirty.
Like a fabric guard type product last?
No.
In that condition, I figured it goes away after like maybe.
I would use something like rag tops.
Okay.
It's a little stronger.
Yeah.
Remember, it's got a 6-month lifespan for actual heavy waterproofing capability.
And I'm not just asking for myself. I'm asking for other people too. But they're
common I would
nowadays.
do that. I'd get the rag top fabric protectant.
Okay.
And do that. But again, much easier to do on a brand new car. Like my Camry has those. The Camry is almost. It's 7 years old.
It's the most annoying thing in the world to clean.
I'm not gonna I clean them and they're fine. Like it doesn't drive me nuts like some people would. Nuts. So
the Jag.
But yeah. So Brent Spence, what is the best way to clean the switchgear with white screen printing without smearing or removing it or fading it? Use a properly diluted interior pH balanced interior cleaner. That's the problem. Most people are using high alkaline cleaners that are at a 12 or 14 to clean and not diluting it properly. So
you could start with O&R and work your way up.
So O&R is right at a 7. Koch, all surface cleaner is about I think it's right at a 7 also, 6.5, maybe 7.5. That's perfect. Express is at a 7. Perfect. Even Express 1-to-1 is great. A true interior cleaner isn't going to damage your switchgear. If you're using Fabuloso or Awesome or some dollar store,
why don't I just use Fabuloso
409
instead?
If you're using a very cheap, inexpensive, all-purpose degreaser or cleaner, you're going to have those issues.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not diluting it properly.
They're aggressive AF.
Many people don't realize that you can take like Fabuloso at a 12 or 14 pH, dilute it down 20-to-1 and it'll still be 11 or a 12.
Well, and the main fear isn't that you're going to hurt the switchgear itself. It's the lettering on the switchgear, stuff like that, which she mentions as a
you're going to remove it.
There's plenty of people who, without even thinking about it, they're just like, oh, just clean a little. And then they actually just...
stocks.
Just
they
the letters
the
just
stock and it's
smeared,
it's gone.
And it's all gone now. And now you just have to remember where
how do I remove it?
The stock went, and the next owner, wow, they're not going to have a fun time.
Yep.
Yeah.
David M says that is exactly why I like 1-year coatings for daily driven cars like Guion Can Coat, Seaquartz light polish in the spring, good to go for another year. And Inspiration Soul, he remarks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's basically it. So Diego says, thanks, Levi, but is it safe to just remove Ulex from paint with a microfiber and leave it? Yeah, you can. If you want to wash it, though, you can. We just did it on Dane's van.
We did that yesterday on my van.
We've done it on a couple vehicles. Luke says, any idea if you'll be getting more pullover hoodies for this winter? Yes, Luke, we've been a big order of hoodies just recently. So they're going to be we've got a different hoodie coming, different, newer style.
It's a good design, though.
It's a lighter hoodie. It's not as thick. We couldn't get our thick, really nice independent hoodies, so we've moved to a lighter independent version, just a little lighter weight, so something people can wear a little longer. Because our hoodies are great, super thick, super nice, but this is more of a wear all day kind of hoodie. Yeah. So. Graham Marshall, have a look at Mitchell & King's atomic carbon nanotube ceramic coating. Wow.
That's
a lot of words, Graham.
A name.
I'm excited. I haven't really gotten a chance to sit down and look at Mitchell & King's stuff you've been talking about. I apologize. Hans, I hear using an ozone machine in a smoker's car might cause a bad chemical reaction that is dangerous. What's your take on that, Levi?
Well, it's dangerous to sit in any car that you ran an ozone machine in
I've ozoned
recently.
Probably... I don't know, 25,000 cars in 25 years. I've never had that issue. So
not a unique reaction.
No,
like he's suggesting.
You detail the car first, clean the detail it all up, then change your cabin filter, then run your ozone machine for an hour, 2, 4, 6, 8 hours, depending on how bad the smoker smell is that's remaining. That's it.
All right.
Luke Berge, favorite acid for when you have to acid wash a vehicle? Just wheel bright, Luke. I'll just tell you that much. G. Davis, Dane, will you follow through on your plans of a forbidden romance video between the JDM van and the F-350 called Broke Beauty Mountain? Broke Booty Mountain.
Well, I'm glad G finally decided to show up.
That's great. Coming in. Like a wind. Yikes. Arthur, hey guys, happy Friday Eve. Do you have any tips on how to remove overspray from engine bay components? No, unfortunately not. You've got so many different parts and metals and rubber and plastic and all that stuff. If you can't get it off with a pressure washer and a clay bar, sorry, pretty much stuck.
You just put more paint on them.
Yeah. Brent Spence, best way to clean the dirty switch gear without smearing the white lettering. Brent, again,
which we addressed.
Get yourself a proper interior cleaner. Express, all surface cleaner, Polestar, a lot of great stuff. O&R, great. D-Man Force 4, WeatherTech floor liners.
A good idea.
Yeah, you put those in over the top of all that stuff.
Yeah.
John Brooker, Levi, thoughts on maintaining the IK sprayers with their service kits? I have yet to see them. But it was a great idea when it came out. We don't have them yet. So, Ozzy Bear the Rooster, what's the best way to get off caked on brake dust deposits off wheels? I'm hitting it with full strength iron remover and using my steamer, and it's barely denting these spots. Any other tricks, MOS? Thanks. So what's the best way to get caked off brake dust deposits off wheels? Full strength iron remover using my steamer. It's barely. Yeah, they're pretty much in there. That's it. If you got it so far down that you've done every iron remover you can and it's not bleeding anymore, and maybe you've used an acid and it's not coming out, sorry, man, those are baked into the finish. That's it.
It's not on the surface.
Time
anymore.
to refinish
it's actually
them.
Embedded.
Yeah, you're going to have to get them sandblasted and refinished. Darren, best coating for alloy wheels. Dark gray, machined finish.
Like C5.
C5 works great. C5 is awesome. And then Dan saying a microfiber hoodie time. Ooh, who knows, man, right? And then Hans, there was a post on Detailing Central about ozone in a smoker's car. I've cleaned and used ozone in a lot of cars, never had trouble after airing out the car, but one guy was really going on about it. So those are the guys that we had that. I had that here in Idaho. We had the auction. Mm-hmm. So the auction process is thousands of cars, the auto auction. That's where all the dealerships would go to pick up these repos and
sold
buy them.
As is, and really, really heavily leaning on the whole as is thing.
So they do a little bit of prep on some of these cars.
Right, yeah.
Right? Dealerships will recon a bunch of them, then take them to the auction to be auctioned.
But just enough to get the
There's a lot that are like that. There are other companies, credit unions, banking institutions, things like that use the auction to recon, fix, mechanically, make the car, if it's worth it.
Make it saleable.
Ozone generators were used a lot in the auction, and there were a lot of horror stories of these guys putting them in the car, cranking them on. Back before, they didn't have timers on the ozone machines. Now they have timers with automatic shutoffs.
Smart.
This was late 90s, early 2000s. These guys would crank these suckers on. They would clean the car. It'd be soaking wet inside because they just got done detailing it. They used shampoos and they were using extractors. So the cars are damp. Then they would fill it with ozone.
dank and you can't breathe.
So it's damp with a ton of ozone, and they leave it running all day long. Ugh. And no one would go out and check on it, or they'd leave it running overnight. They'd set it before they left, and they'd go, and the car would sit there and...
The headliner, the seats, anything that is slightly porous is going to just absorb all
You got to remember, ozone goes in and removes certain atoms and replaces it with ozone, i.e. oxygen.
So you go and have a seat in there, and after a few seconds, you start to go...
Yeah, so water is hydrogen and oxygen. And so the water vapor that's still in the car from it being soaking wet, and I mean, I'm talking soaking wet. You could push on the carpets and they were still wet. That's how, water would squeeze out. These were not sucked out. This is just how
squeezing a sponge. Just
right. That would happen, and they would ozone it. So now you've got hydrogen and ozone.
Yep.
Just running away in that car. And what would happen is the plastics would start to deteriorate, or they would burn, or they would stain, because it was starting to change that chemical makeup inside the vehicle, and things would get damaged. That was the biggest thing they would talk about, was don't use ozones for too long. But they were neglecting the fact that at the time they were soaking cars. And this was tradition all over the country.
Yeah.
Dealerships were using extractors. They were teaching people how to extract cars. The auto auctions, it was a normal occurrence for what we would call a poor quality detailing job, or a beginner job in detailing. Now, in the last 15 years, the move to not use as much water in vehicles to clean carpets, and dry cleaning has come about with steam and tornadors and products that actually can clean and remove, and know how to remove soilage without the necessity of a bucket and a wash mitt.
I think people just get too hung up on dealing in extremes, and nuance is completely lost on people. When they say everything in moderation, it really does work for most things in life.
Well, you think about, Anthony talks about all the time. He puts an ozone machine in for an hour in a car, and he doesn't have any problems. I had cars, it only needed an hour. I had cars where it needed 8 hours. When I bought my 4Runner for my wife, and we were fixing it up.
But you're not going to do that on every car.
She goes, I put it in the ozone, I detailed it, cleaned it all up, put it in the ozone machine in it for like an hour, brought it home for her. 2 days later, she drove it. She was driving around. She's like, man, I can still smell cigarette smoke in there.
Yeah.
And so I took it back to work, cleaned the filters, changed everything, put the ozone machine, ran it for like 8 hours in there. Took it back home, and she's like, wow, it doesn't smell anymore.
There you go.
I just needed to run the ozone a little longer. So
but
I didn't have
that's not
clean.
the case
but
with
that was
every
it.
vehicle.
Yeah, I didn't hurt anything. So G. Davis says, any suggestions on a gift beginner detail kit for an ex-girlfriend that I recently ran into at a local taco joint, actual horse stable? Thank you.
Well, are you going to give them some suggestions?
Wow, great stuff. A little pearl, maybe a 32 of pearl, a little 16 of some express, maybe some True View, and a little bead maker, and maybe a premium towel pack. It's a great little I love you gift, or I want to be on you gift.
Classic.
I want to be with you at the horse stables. Scott Matern, did you just run the cord of an ozone machine through a cracked window? Yes, I did. That was it. Because you only had to keep it cracked. So I just run the cord through, and then I'd roll the window up till it was about that tall.
Most of it's still going to be in there. You don't have to worry too much.
Tubbin and Tubin. Levi, what's your take on CarPro Pearl? Mainly for tire dressing. I applied it for the first time today. I've never used it. A lot of people really love it. So
yeah, a lot of people really do seem to enjoy it.
It's a good product. And then Chris says, who's the new guy? It's Anthony. I don't know what you're talking about. He's been here the whole time. Hans says, just lay the cord in the door sill and close the door softly. Could do that, Hans, but then you damage breaking your cable. So that's why I just run it out the door.
Older cars may have more forgiving seals.
Because you have to have an intake, and you need to keep one part of the window open. So that's what I use to kind of kill two birds with one stone. Aries Oriola saying, dipped mobile detail here, new Ambassador. Just got my package. Thank you so much. Question. I have Adam's graphene ceramic coating on my truck. How and about I lay a layer of Legend on it?
As far as doubling your coatings,
you can try it. I don't know if it's going to work.
Don't necessarily know.
I will tell you, Legend is much stronger and tougher than that graphene.
Yes. No,
much
Legend
thicker too.
is
So
beefy when it comes
I would say
to
a light polish, probably remove that graphene coating and then throw Legend on it. You'd be fine. Scott says, thanks, Hans. And then he says, Hans, sorry. And then Harry says, prep-wise, yeah, I polish it.
Something to stick to.
Hans says, let the cord come out of the point where the front and rear door get together. Usually there's a slight gap for the cable. That's a smart idea right there. And then saving the running ozone indoors, also no ozone leaking into the room. Yeah, but I'd park my cars outside running. I had a fenced-in lot and stuff, so I didn't have to worry about it.
Don't put yourself in the same room where that's being done.
True,
preferably.
If you're working, and I've done that. I've worked in a shop where I've had 2 cars next to run ozone there, and you're like, man,
But you got like a shop door open, hopefully.
A couple hours, you can smell it.
Yeah.
That's true. So...
Just trying to be safe, you know?
There was a question back there. I wanted to go over a little more.
What do you want to touch on?
The service kits from John. So on those IK sprayer service kits, they're a great kit. I'll just tell you that IK has run into their own supply chain issue stuff. Trying to get those. I think the service kits are the greatest thing ever developed because of the fact that you can rebuild your IK.
Yeah.
For a little bit amount of money. It's really nice because realistically, all that ever needs replaced on those is a couple O-rings, a couple bushings, and you're done. And those service kits have every single part that you need. Now, I know we were carrying them. I don't know off the top of my head if we have them on the website.
I don't recall how many people were actually buying them or not.
Yeah, but they're great. And, you might be able to find them from IK themselves for their U.S. branch and pick them up that way. But they're great because of that. So
yeah, because if you have a otherwise perfectly good working tool, keep it going. But those things are hardy. It's good to try and save what you can and not just always just buy something new to replace the old thing.
Wow. Dan says he was at the auto parts store the other day and found ceramic microfiber towels. When will TRC step up their game? These have even more polyester, 87% polyester.
More polyester equals more better.
13% polyamide, which means that they are less absorbent.
Correct.
87. Wow. Ooh, such a blend.
Enjoy smearing.
Darren says, do I always need to do a strip wash even if I'm going to polish? If so, what strip wash do you recommend? No, so people go, man, you need a strip wash. You don't. You could spray your car down with an APC and then rinse it off. A strip wash is just to help remove anything. Dawn dishwashing detergent is technically a strip wash. Wash your car with Dawn. It will literally act like a strip wash.
Your polishing is going to get anything you missed. Anyway.
Polishing is going to remove the rest of it. So you could wash it normally. I like doing a pre-clean, and what I laugh about is that people would go, gosh, I got to have that strip wash. You don't. I used to take Power Clean 4-to-1 in a pump garden sprayer, and I would just spray the whole car down with it, and then I'd wash it. I'd remove bugs, I'd get the dirt off, I'd get the tar, I'd get the fender wells clean, get the tires clean. It'd do a lot. And then I would wash it with soap and water. So, yeah, you don't need to. GSF with a little bit of Green Star mixed into it, probably 2 ounces of Green Star to 1/2 ounce, 5 ounces of GSF in your foam cannon would work with a couple ounces of Green Star. Maybe if you're doing 5 in a 35 ounce, 5 ounces of GSF, ounce or 2 of Green Star, work pretty good. G. Davis with the real question that I'm excited to answer. Anyone watching season 3 of Titans? Yes, I am.
I have not.
So
watched any of Titans.
Big fan of Teen Titans. Loving the DC more adult Titans.
Okay.
Enjoying it. I thought the first season was okay. It was good. Second season I really liked. Third season I'm really enjoying with Red Hood. And I like everybody in the group this season. I like how the way it's working out. I like the dynamics between Starfire and Blackfire. Really digging it. I'm a big fan of the Titans. So really enjoyed a lot of that. So yes, G, right. I am. Jonathan Rosen saying, Levi, you the man. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. And Darren also, is it safe to strip wash the glass and tires or only use it on the paint? Yeah, it's safe. Totally safe.
Yeah, it's not like you're throwing acid on the windows. You're fine.
Yeah. And then Josh saying, hey, Levi, any word from OG? Josh, I haven't even looked at my emails yet. G. Davis says, rest in peace, Hank. I know. Sucks. They had to kill off Hawk. Super bummer.
Poor
Philip
Hank.
Van Boover. I liked his character later when he was like, I liked him this season best. Last season, I didn't really care for him. David M. I use Power Clean in the IK. Does Power Clean have any enzymes for bug removal? No. It might. Chemically, I don't know the actual chemical makeup of it, but it does work great at bug removal.
You just know from experience it's highly effective.
Very good. David M. I use Power Clean in an IK sprayer to strip as well. I was shocked how Anthony reacted when you did it to his Civic in the Cheap Car Challenge. Always seems to say, it's exactly what I did. What I did on Anthony's car is exactly what I did in my shop all the time.
Anthony is just paranoid, so he's always trying to go the safer route. Mm-hmm. Well, at least on his own vehicles. We could say different things about what he did to my van the other day.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
And that's why he looks like that.
Yep. G. Davis says Red Hood deserves to be a live-action Batman movie. I agree. I think the character, I don't like the kid playing Red Hood very much. I think it's kind of an odd-shaped costume for him because he's so little. But I like the character dynamic of Red Hood. I like that story and that arc, and I like that. So, Jonathan Rosa, why are the FTW towels so damn dope? Lol, I love them. I know they're amazing. They're super great.
And they're good at just about everything.
Yep, they do. So,
we're caught up.
Man, we caught up. We got 4 minutes left, Dane.
Well, want to talk about what we've been doing to the van?
Anthony has sent a video of sorts.
Let's take a look.
Still.
Just a still. He's still being...
Lucy James Fisher, 7 pounds, half of an ounce, 20 inches long. Oh, look at that baby. Congratulations, Anthony.
Congratulations,
Nick,
Anthony.
I got to take a picture of this for my wife.
Oh, that's great.
So that's
why he was holding out. He really wanted to make a little surprise jump in there. That's fantastic.
That's great. Good work, Anthony.
Yes.
Look at that. Awesome. Right. Well, there you go. So that's a good way to.
So we all found out together. Yeah. Now we know it's Lucy.
Now you guys all know too. Lucy James Fisher. Beautiful baby boy, Lucy James. Just kidding.
No, congratulations.
Awesome.
That
awesome. Is rad. Good for you guys. I'm glad you're all right. I'm glad you're going. I'm glad you guys had fun. Enjoy your evening tonight, Anthony.
The last of many.
Yeah.
Well, the first of many.
No, I will say this just before we go. That first night in the hospital with Hadley.
Yeah.
She started crying. My wife was exhausted. She fell asleep. Hadley started fussing a little bit. She never cried, really. She was just made noise. I'd pick her up, and I remember that first night being a dad by myself in the hospital with my wife asleep, still in the same room, and it was a full moon outside, and you got a good view of Table Rock. Anthony's got the same view I had that first night, and there's something very strange. It's a moment that like that dad power kicks in, kind of funky. And I'm excited that hopefully you'll experience that, Anthony. Super stoked. And
that's going to be wonderful.
I think it'll be rad. So
what a great way to end the show.
Yeah. And welcome, little Luce.
Yes. So, happy birthday. All right.
All right, guys. So
now
Dane,
it's a bunch
take
of
us
people
home.
saying congrats. I'll pop these up just in case somebody else is saying congrats, and there are a few.
Yeah, Graham, Kirby. There we go. So
absolutely. All right. Well, here, want to answer just another question or two?
One more, Dane. Aries saying, what are your thoughts on McKee's N914 rinseless wash as a ceramic prep, which it states on the label? I think it's a great idea after heavy paint correction. I use ONR that same way, but I still use a panel wipe or paint prep developed by the coating company that I'm putting the coating on. I don't trust that to say that. So that's it, man. All right, guys.
All right.
Hope you enjoy yourselves. Dane, take it away.
All right. So, guys, gals, everybody in between, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And, of course, congrats to Anthony. Not this guy, real Anthony.
Yeah. Congrats, guys. The Fisher family. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Dan says he hopes the first O&R bath goes well.
Baptism by O&R. There you go. All right. So, everybody, take care. Stay safe. And we will catch you again.
Yep.
Watch some videos. We got that tour coming out this week on a Saturday.
Check it out.
Look forward to that tour, and we'll see you again on Monday on the Rag Company Podcast YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that so you know when we go live there. All right, that's it, guys. Have a great weekend.
See ya.
Bye.